On the surface, everything seems fine. Life goes on and people keep an optimistic smile on their face. But a lot of people underestimate how much their upbringing and environment affects the way they interact in the world. Success as an adult is shaped at an early age by things like the environment in which a child's brain develops. Developing the ability to persevere, to be aware that actions have consequences, to learn how to learn, begins with infancy. Early trauma in childhood changes the developing brain because an environment full of abuse and neglect, for example, causes different adaptations in the brain compared to an environment full of love, safety, and security. Long-term effects of childhood trauma, especially if left untreated, could cause issues in adulthood. The following are examples of bad and stressful childhood experiences that can lead to long-term effects in adulthood. Physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, physical neglect, emotional neglect, witnessing domestic violence, substance misuse within the household, mental illness within the household, parental separation or divorce, incarceration of a household member, sudden death in the family, and caring for someone with a chronic or debilitating illness. These are the long-term effects of childhood trauma. 1. Addiction and mental health disorders. Childhood trauma has been strongly linked to depression, substance use disorder, anxiety, eating disorders, and other mental health disorders that are present in adulthood. People who were abused in childhood and who did not seek the proper treatment are more likely to struggle with conflict resolutions and have poor stress management skills in adulthood. As a result, they are more likely to use food, drugs, or alcohol as a coping mechanism to deal with any underlying internal conflicts and to also deal with any depression or anxiety that may have developed from their past trauma. Some mental illnesses can also develop not only in childhood but also in adulthood as a result of stress, mainly environmental stress in this case, and this usually happens when you have to deal with any form of abuse that destroys you mentally and emotionally. 2. Attraction to unhealthy relationships. It is common for people who have childhood trauma to be attracted to emotionally unavailable or abusive people because these people fit their trauma identity, and this often results in a new and repetitive cycle of trauma and abuse. Often, traumatic feelings are familiar, and many will choose abusive relationships regardless if they are aware that these are not the right choices. 3. Loss of childhood memories. Individuals who had a traumatic childhood will often not be able to remember large portions of these years, and this is known as blocking, a common defense mechanism, and it's like putting a mental wall to defend yourself from past memories that have hurt you. They may remember vivid memories or events without any context, and as a result, they may feel as though their childhood was stolen, which can lead to problems with self-identity or self-esteem in adulthood. 4. Avoidance of relationships. Individuals who experience negative developmental experiences in childhood may lack social skills and a desire for closeness in adulthood. Some parents think it's okay to keep a child always locked in the house and limit their freedom to connect with people outside their home, and as a result, many adults may avoid closeness with others and prefer to isolate themselves, which can rob them off of healthy personal relationships and communication skills. Some adults also try to convince themselves that they like being alone. Some take pride in it and call themselves loners. It's okay to love your own company. In fact, I encourage that, because many people get into relationships or things that give temporary pleasure just to escape and fill in that void of loneliness. But instead, when you learn how to love your own company, you also learn more about yourself. you grow mentally and prepare yourself for any social interaction or anything that life throws at you. And in addition, you'll learn how to get into relationships because you genuinely want to be in one and not for selfish reasons. So ask yourself, do you like being alone because as a child you had no choice but to be alone? Or do you like being alone because you like your own company? Think about it. It's also not normal for a child to have to think for a very long time to ask their parent if they can go out, just to have to wait for hours and do endless domestic work to get an answer. This also brings problems when you become an adult, because you have problems with your independence and feel like you can't do anything without asking for permission and seeking reassurance. This is also how social anxiety starts, and this is why having contact with the outside world, building a healthy fellowship is important. It improves your mental growth. If parents do not give the child the opportunity to have healthy connections with peers, that can cause mental issues and also self-esteem issues, to the point that these individuals may feel as though they are too flawed or damaged to be involved in any type of relationships with others. 5. Chronic illness. Traumatic memories and experiences contribute to chronic stress and illnesses, which can harm physical health. Past traumatic experiences can lead to obesity, diabetes, autoimmune disorders, heart disease, and increase the risk for certain cancers, not to mention the effects that alcohol and drugs can have on the body, as many individuals turn to these substances as an unhealthy coping mechanism to deal with their trauma. 6. Childhood trauma increases the likelihood of experiencing depression. Depression affects the way that individuals view themselves, others, and the world around them. Depression also has the power to cause emotional and even physical problems. Depression can manifest itself in insomnia, drained energy, hopelessness, ongoing sadness, anxiety, lack of appetite, poor concentration, suicidal thoughts and actions. Childhood trauma can manifest as the inability to self-express or self-defend and a tendency to bottle up emotions in adulthood. While some people view passivity as being agreeable or being a team player, childhood trauma can have devastating impacts. These are the ways you can overcome your childhood trauma. 1. Analyze and reflect on your trauma. To be able to overcome your childhood trauma, you need to first acknowledge it. As mentioned before, we tend to put up this imaginary wall to protect ourselves from hurtful experiences. But to be able to heal, we need to face the truth and feel it. Cry, unleash our pain and fully take it in and then let it go. There are some things that we might not fully let go of, but we need to forgive and continue to look forward towards new experiences that will bring us joy and healing. I also encourage you to feel your emotions like anger, sadness, indignation, or any type of emotion. These emotions must be expressed and experienced. Find a safe and constructive way to express these emotions, but don't lie to yourself and say it's okay to be hurt. If someone behaves disrespectfully with you and it offends you, you should dare to feel and express that feeling. You don't have to pretend it was nothing. If someone continuously invades your personal space, disrespects you or yells at you, there is no reason to justify or downplay this in any way. Be honest with yourself. See how you feel and try to understand what that feeling is trying to tell you about you. Then give yourself what you need. Maybe you need to start standing up for yourself and expressing your wishes. Maybe you need to ask for help. Or maybe you just need a good cry. Whatever it is, don't deny it to yourself. Don't lock your pain away or hide it, because that's how you deepen your soul wounds. Here and now, you can decide to listen to your body and emotions and deal with them. 2. Trusting in God. I'm a Christian, and the only higher power I believe in is the God of the Bible, and He can do wonders. He can heal you and restore you, teach you how to love yourself and others, teach you how to forgive even if you can't let go of your past. You can't do this alone. Many of us carry burdens that shouldn't be ours to carry. Many of us have so much on our shoulders that we forget that God told us to cast our cares upon Him. But the thing is, that doesn't mean you just have to go to God when you need something or use Him as an emotional dump. No. I'm just encouraging you to find happiness in Him. He's the only one that can give you true peace and joy. Make sure you also pray for the people that hurt you, so that God can soften their heart and heal them, and so that those people do not unleash their internal pain and insecurity on others. 3. Don't try to rationalize your trauma. It's not uncommon to try and make sense of the trauma that was inflicted on you throughout your childhood. However, there is absolutely nothing that can justify child abuse, so don't strain yourself trying to rationalize it. Instead, focus on healing. 4. Stay focused on your future. Your past does not dictate your future. As children, we are often restricted by the rules and limitations set by our parents and other authority figures. Trauma can also make us feel like we are not in charge of our lives or their direction. But as an adult, you have the freedom to set your own path towards a future built by your own personal goals, morals, and ambition. 5. Learn from your past. As an adult, you can learn from your past experiences and decide, okay, this is how or this is not how I want to treat my children. This is how or this is not how I want to treat people or treat myself. You don't have to follow in the footsteps of those who raised you. As weird as it may sound, childhood trauma in adults can be put to good use by vowing never to inflict the trauma you endured on others. 6. Seek help. Childhood trauma can negatively impact the rest of your life, but it doesn't have to be that way. You can heal. As an adult, you can seek help. You can open up to someone you trust or seek professional help. Sometimes we might not realize how deep our childhood trauma is till we talk it out with a therapist or a close friend. This is a very important step towards your healing, so please do not undermine it. Going to a therapist is not for crazy people. Going to a therapist makes you understand yourself better and also makes you a better person. Sometimes avoiding to seek professional help is what makes you crazy and a danger to society.